And the tourism department has reported another case of a quarantine skipper, another traveler from the United States. Interior Department spokesman Usec Jonathan Malaya is with us now over Zoom to discuss that. Usec Jonathan, what do we know so far about this other quarantine skipper?
First, thank you for having me, Sean. We just received this report coming from the Department of Tourism because the DILG is not in charge of the quarantine hotels. No? Quarantine hotels are under the Department of Tourism, the OWA for overseas Filipino workers, and under the Bureau of Quarantine of the Department of Health. But just this morning, Secretary Anyo gave instructions to the Philippine National Police to start surprise inspections in all hotel quarantines to determine if indeed the people who are supposed to be there are there. And if they're not there, to immediately investigate so that charges can be filed against those responsible officials.
Right. Of course, this new case is the first time that it has come to light in this big of a way. Usec, how is the investigation going with these cases of a protocol breach? I believe there are two now that are, popular in media.
Well, the investigation has been going well. We have established already the timeline of what happened, and based on the timeline that we were able to get, she arrived, a Poblacion girl arrived on December 22 at 11:23 at the Berjaya Hotel when she came from the airport. And less than 30 minutes later, she left aboard an SUV for an undisclosed location. I think that she went home. And then she went back again the next day and then left at 8:30 in the evening to go to Media Hotel and Kampay Bar, wherein she was in close contact with 15 people. The next day she was swabbed and then she tested positive. So I think we have substantial evidences already based on affidavits coming from different individuals and CCTV footage to establish that she did this willingly and that the hotel had something to do with it, because it would be impossible for you to come in and out of that hotel without anyone from the hotel knowing about it.
Right. So what charges are you going to file against this so-called Poblacion girl?
We are looking at violations of Republic Act 11332 against both Poblacion girl and the hotel. But we're also looking at the liability of her friends, because based on the results of the investigation, some of her friends pick her up at the hotel itself. No, so that means she had help, and these people who picked her up did knowingly pick her up from her hotel when in fact she should be in quarantine. So the responsibility is not limited to her. It is expanding to all those individuals who were involved in this very unlawful practice. In addition to violation of RA 11332, cases for violations of ordinances as well as the revised penal code are also being studied by the Philippine National Police for filing of cases before the Department of Justice and ultimately the courts.
All right. In other matters, Usec Malaya, we have NCR mayors looking to impose even more restrictions on the unvaccinated. Is the DILG backing this strategy?
Yes, we are completely in support of that strategy because for NCR, for example, we have so much vaccines. In fact, we have delivery of 200 million vaccines since March of this year. Therefore, it's no longer a question of supply. It's a question of individuals doing their part for them to be vaccinated so that we can finally put this COVID problem behind. So we support this position. Unvaxxed individuals should remain in their residences. They should not be allowed in restaurants, leisure, social trips, inside malls, or public transportation. And for the workers who up to now are unvaccinated, they should get an RT-PCR every 2 weeks at their own cost.
All right. However, USEC, those sound very strict, but of course, essential errands are exempted from this restriction. Does this mean that purely grocery stores, medical appointments can be gone to, and of course, pharmacies and the like, maybe the bank?
The idea behind here, Sean, is to make life difficult for them because they are making life difficult for us. This is a global pandemic, no, and since we have no law requiring them to be vaccinated, mandatory vaccination, we can create the conditions upon which they have to be vaccinated, and these are some of the measures that we think will be effective for us to increase our vaccination rate.
Right. Well, prior to this announcement, Usec Malaya, there were already some sort of talks with the DOLE or the DOLE regarding whether or not there could allow or disallow unvaccinated employees from going to work. Will going to work also be part of this not going out of the house mandate?
I already mentioned the policy for workers who up to now are unvaccinated, and this number is getting smaller every day. We cannot force you to be vaccinated if you're a worker, and we cannot remove you from your work. However, the policy now is you must be tested every 2 weeks, and you must get a negative result every 2 weeks, and the cost of the RT-PCR test shall be borne by you.
All right, so that is an RT-PCR test at your own expense every 2 weeks, just to make it clear.
Yes.
And will the Interior Department, Usec Malaya, be recommending similar restrictions in other areas, like specifically in Calabarzon, Central Luzon, where cases are also rising?
This policy is now in effect in the National Capital Region because the Metro Manila Council has agreed to this policy. So we will also discuss this with our local government units in the Calabarzon area, especially those who are in the neighboring provinces of Metro Manila. So I think this is, if they go to alert level 3, definitely we will pursue a similar policy as the ones being implemented now in the National Capital Region.
All right, thank you so much for clarifying everything for us. That was DILG spokesman, Undersecretary Jonathan Malaya. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.